On YouTube fam, it's your boy Wisco Madman coming at you with another one. This one is kind of a part 2 to my headlight restoration video, moving on to the tinting portion. So this is what my fog light looks like. We're using a fog light in this case because I've already done my headlights, but I thought I'd share with you how to do it. I've already cleaned up my fog light quite a bit with your headlights and whatnot. You just want to make sure that your headlight's as clear as you want it to be when you put that tint on, because obviously you're not planning on taking that tint off anytime soon. So I cleared up all the scratching, pitting, any of that kind of stuff, as you've seen in the last video. And now I am simply going to take some glass cleaner first off, just to clean any residual residue. If you're not polishing and everything else beforehand, make sure you get all the bugs or whatever road crap is on your headlight off before you apply the tint. So we just, a little bit of glass cleaner works good enough for me. We'll make sure it's obviously completely dry before we get to the tint, and it is. Alright, so here is our VViViD Plus smoke tint. This one happens to be the hex pulsing one, but I will leave links for it down below in the description section, so y'all know what kind of tint it is and all that kind of stuff, so you can find that. This one I like because the idea behind it is simply that as you apply it, all the air can actually bleed out. I believe the vinyl itself is slightly porous, and that's why it allows air to pass through it so you don't get any air bubbling. So in order to start this, we just simply peel an edge and we make sure it lines up. Leave a little bit of overlap. I'll show you in just a second here. I'll lift it up for the camera. A little bit of overlap so you're able to stretch it over and fold it over just a hair. When I take them out, in order to make sure that they seal properly, I fold just a millimeter of vinyl over the edge. I find that way it won't peel out or anything like that. I've had zero problems with my headlights up to this point with the way that I wrap them, and they have been through pressure washing and whatnot, so hold up just fine. What we didn't talk about though is there's going to be some tools that you would like. This is just a felted scraper, so you can kind of smooth it out, and then in order to cut the vinyl stuff, I have this. This is all stuff, like I bought this on Amazon the first time, and they had a suggested kit, something cheap and easy. You don't have to get all fancy. I mean, unless you're going to do this professionally, who cares how fancy your tool set is. And this little blade's kind of nice, but you can use just about any ultra sharp razor blade, utility blade, what have you. And I think that is pretty much all of it. Oh, and this little fancy tool is actually pretty cool. It's a little flexible and whatnot, and that allows me, when I go around the edges, to really tuck it in there. So anyway, we'll go ahead. We have it stuck down already. Heat gun is an almost must. I'm sure you can find something cheap at Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. You just use your low setting, get this a little flexible. Nothing fancy. Obviously, when you set it down, don't set it the hot part directly on your couch, because you don't want to set that on fire. And we just start smoothing it out. You can kind of see I'm just working my way from one end to the other. And obviously when you stuck it down in the first place, you want to make sure that it's going to go from one end to the other and cover the whole piece. Your cutout needs to be sizable. I've got an extra inch on each side because I'm dealing with a small fog light. But when you get to your headlight, if your headlight's all curvy and everything else, more is better. It's not that expensive of a tint. Just seriously, use more, and that way you don't end up getting screwed some way where you're running out and have to manipulate it and then it looks like crap. So heat it up a little bit more. Well, of course it wants to fold back on me here, but we'll go ahead. Like I said, heat up a little bit more. You know, I seen a professional installation video on this, and honestly, obviously the guy knows what he's doing, but you know, there were a lot of things about stretching and whatnot that he made seem super easy. I am not an overly knowledgeable person when it comes to doing car stuff in general, or applying tints or vinyls or any of that kind of stuff. So the reason I came out with this video is to show you that you don't need to overcomplicate it. It's really, really super simple, and anybody can do it. Just with a little practice, maybe a screw up here or there, but shit, it ain't that big a deal. Better than spending hundreds on something dumb, you know? So, a little bit more, we'll finish the last bit of it. Yeah, as long as you don't have to manipulate it to get around some sort of curvature, it's really super easy. My headlights on my Audi Q7 were actually a little bit difficult, but you know, that's because they have massive curvature to them. So here's what we look like. We're covered on the first bit. Notice that nice tinting. Keep in mind also, this particular pulse one, I was worried about having to go darker, potentially, or even if this one might have been too dark and possibly illegal or whatever. The light that comes through this tint is basically the same. It looks smoother when the lights are off. When the lights turn on, it almost looks like there's no tint to it whatsoever. So it's super nice when it comes to, you'll have a slick look on your car, but it won't affect your ability to see, and it won't be illegal in case you were to get pulled over. I'm a stickler for saving every little extra piece because, you know, I paid for it. So just in case I have anything else I want to tint, or maybe a friend wants to use this same tint, which actually my buddy does want to use this same tint, I save every little bit because you never know what you want to tint and what you could use it on. And that's just that little slide cutter that I was showing you earlier. So you take the rest of that off. You can take your backing off now. You're all done. Again, just one more review. That's how it looks when it's all around. I'm going to do my own preference because I took it out and actually fold around the edges just to make sure that there's no edge that's viewable once I reinstall these. So that's quite simple. You just heat up the bottom edge. Actually, I think this is the top edge, but either way. And edge. And then we go to start folding it around. Use our fancy little tool here. And I just make sure that it is sealed up, no air bubbles whatsoever. There's a little groove on these fog lights, so in this case, I will actually fold that tint right into that groove with the edge of this tool. See a little bit closer. So now we will go ahead and do I like to do opposite edges for whatever reason, instead of working my way all the way around and get some sort of twist to it. I like to do opposite edges so we keep the face the main viewable face looking the same. And that just starts with pushing this down just a little bit with the felt to get the start of the fold over, and then actually doing the real detail work right with this tool. In this case, I'm using the big fat wide end, but you just use whatever happens to work for your own dexterity and your own preferences. I need a little bit more heat because it's not sticking quite. When you do the heat on this, make sure you're doing a nice slow back and forth. You're not staying in any one spot too long. Heat guns throw an awful lot of heat. It's not a hair dryer, obviously. So I will tell you this, the very first one I did, I got mad, crumpled up, and threw away because I used too much heat gun. And that's why I take my headlights out too, because it's just easier to work with. That was actually the first thing I got mad at in a very, very long time. It irritated me a lot. Biggest trick is you can always add more heat. You can't add less. Once you burn a hole in this, you're screwed. So take your time. Don't get in a rush on anything. Give yourself plenty of time to work on it, and it'll be just fine. Finish the other side. One last heat up to finish it off. Because we are almost done here. It goes pretty quick when you don't have much to work around. It's literally just a flat, easy surface. You can spend a lot more time when you're first figuring it out, and there's a lot more surface to work with. For instance, your headlights. But yeah, I took every last piece out of my car. It was not that hard. You know, people think Germans are all super hard. They're not. Everything's actually designed to be taken out. It's kind of nice. So that's it. All the edging, I just fold it over just a little bit. You see that shimmer? That's so fucking cool. No, if you had questions about it like me, no, it does not do anything fancy to how your headlights look. It does not do, when the light's on, I mean, it does not do anything fancy to how your signal light looks, anything like that. That's the pulsing rainbow effect that they have. All it does is in light, it does this, where you can see all that shimmer, you know? It shimmers in rainbow. That's what it does. I think it looks pretty cool. I like it. Not complaining about it at all. It'd have been cooler if it did something with the signal light, but obviously that's more electronic fanciness. But yeah, so now our final step is simply trim off the rest of it and we're done. So in this case, I pressed it all into that seam. So I'll just pick a start point. We'll do a slice right through here. Careful with this particular type of blade if you do have the same blade I have. It's a razor blade. It is super, super sharp. But if you looked at my hands, you would see all the scars. I cut myself all the time. not usually intentional. It's usually just a byproduct of trying to get through all this. You don't have to be super technical with how you trim it, because again, we'll probably just go over it with the heat gun again and really shrink it up at the edge, just to verify that we don't have any super frilly sticking out pieces. All that scrap, fold this up, get a little bit of edges here, and we just heat them down. Notice how much I care about the edges. I'm doing it with my damn thumb. And I'm a perfectionist, so I kind of want to make sure that I get all this perfect before I go showing you a final product. So we're going to go ahead and really get this good so I can kind of show you what it looks like at the end. Mind you, if you're going to keep your hand holding on to it like I do, be careful with the heat gun. That shit gets hot, obviously. Also, to all you professionals that may be watching this, people who have actually really done this and do this on a daily basis, please don't hate on me too much. Obviously, I am not in your profession. I'm just simply doing this video to give a non-professional viewpoint to somebody, to show them how easy it is. I watched a professional video when I first tried this, and there were some kinks that I had to work out myself. So I'm hoping that this video is headlight tinting for dummies kind of thing. People who aren't in your profession that can kind of watch this and be like, oh yeah, okay, this is how it goes. Or this is another perspective of how it goes. That's the sole purpose of this video. It's not to say that I know more about tinting than you guys do by any means. And actually, if you guys do a search on YouTube, there is an installation video. I forget what detail guy or installation guy did it, but it's actually a VViViD installation, like the brand. He installs VViViD as well. All right, so at this point, I'm not looking to trim it up anymore. There's a frill here, there, whichever. I'm really just trying to wrap this up for the video for you guys, and I think this is pretty good. The face, no bubbling, no nothing. It looks pretty good. The edges look mostly good. Keep in mind, pretty much anything past the face is not going to be visible to anybody else once it's back on the car. But that's all I did. I just folded it right around the edges, just like that. I appreciate y'all watching this video. If you have any other questions about a problem you might be running into, shoot it in the comments, run it by me. I might be able to help you, might be able to explain it a little bit more common person style, more so than, say, a professional or something like that. Not to mention, I have the time to comment back. So, yeah, this has been your boy, Wisco Madman. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As I said, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.